Welcome to another edition of Biblical Errancy Commentary, the series that takes a critical look at Scripture, pointing out its numerous errors, contradictions, and fallacies. This program teaches a kind of Sunday school in reverse by giving you the biblical information that you should have heard but didn't. With millions of Americans hearing a totally one-sided presentation of the Bible, balance is greatly needed. Only when people are given both sides of an issue can a truly objective analysis be possible. And here to provide the alternative perspective is the editor of Biblical Errancy Newsletter, Mr. Dennis McKenzie.
Welcome to the 15th edition of Biblical Errancy Commentary. We're pleased you're here. If you'll recall our last program, we discussed the resurrection. Today, we'll analyze additional events closely associated with the life of Jesus, such things as the crucifixion, the ascension, the genealogies, Jesus' ancestry, historicity, and pagan similarities. We'll begin with the crucifixion, another event bountifully endowed with problems. The Gospels are clearly in disagreement as to precisely what happened prior to and during the execution of Jesus. 12 conflicts are definitely worthy of note. First, Matthew 27:28 says the robe put on Jesus was scarlet colored, while Mark 15:17 and John 19:2 say it was purple. Second, John 19:1-2 and 5 say the robe was put on Jesus during his trial, while Matthew 27:26-28 and Mark 15:17 say it was put on after Pilate delivered him to be crucified. Third, Mark 15:25 says Jesus was crucified at the third hour. Luke 23:43-44 says it was before the sixth hour. And John 19:14-16 says it was after the sixth hour. Fourth, the wording of that which was written on the cross is contradictory. Matthew 27:37 says it was, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." Mark 15:26 says it was, "the King of the Jews." Luke 23:38 says it was, "This is the King of the Jews." And John 19:19 says it was, "Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews." Fifth, Matthew 27:35, Mark 15:24, and Luke 23:34 say the soldiers at the cross cast lots for the garments of Jesus, while John 19:23-24 says they vied for his coat alone. 6. Matthew 27:48, Luke 23:36, and John 19:29-30 say that Jesus was given vinegar to drink while on the cross. Matthew 27:34 says it was vinegar mingled with gall, and Mark 15:23 says it was wine mingled with myrrh. 7th, Mark 15:36 says that when Jesus got the sponge filled with vinegar, the person who actually gave him the sponge said he would see if Elijah would come to rescue him. While Matthew 27:48-49 says Elijah was mentioned by those with the person who gave him the sponge. 8. Luke 23:39-40 says only one of the thieves on the cross reviled Jesus, while Matthew 27:44 and Mark 15:32 say both thieves made comments. 9th, Matthew 27:55-56, Mark 15:40, and John 19:25 differ dramatically on the names of the women who were watching the crucifixion. 10th, Matthew 27:55-56, Luke 23:49, and Mark 15:40 say the women observed the crucifixion from afar, while John 19:25 says they were near the cross. 11th, according to Luke 23:47, after Jesus gave up the ghost, the centurion said Jesus was a righteous man, while according to Matthew 27:54, he said Jesus was the Son of God. And lastly, Matthew 27:33, Mark 15:22, and John 19:17 say Jesus was killed at Golgotha, while Luke 23:33 says it was Calvary. Judging from these problems, we can clearly see that there's widespread disagreement as to the precise chain of events surrounding the crucifixion, and little possibility of harmonization without doing a hatchet job on the text by liberal interpolation and eisegesis, which means reading into the text. Another major problem with the crucifixion has to do with who or what died on the cross. If a man died, then nothing was accomplished, for a man's death can save no one. If God died on the cross, then we have an impossibility, since God can't die.